Now, one of the reasons I started a YouTube channel is to help more people around the world understand China, because I truly believe that it's China who is developing the future technology that will change our world for the better. One of those technologies is China's digital currency, an amazing technology that literally will transform the entire way that all of us looks at our banks and our money moving forward in the future. My next guest on Real Talk China is American author Richard Turin, who recently just published the book Cashless, China's Digital Currency Revolution. And if you're a little skeptical about China's digital currency, have a listen as to why this is so important for every country around the world.
We all owe China a debt because they are the first major country to put forward a digital RMB. They have helped the US, the UK, EU all push forward many years their digital currency projects. So they are helping all of us to bring this fantastic digital future closer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of Real Talk China. Everybody, I'd like to welcome into the studio Richard Turin. He is an American expat that's living in China, and he is the recent author of the book Cashless. Richard, thank you so much for joining us here on Real Talk China. How are you this evening?
I'm talking to you, so I'm fabulous. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to meet all of your guests.
Fantastic. Well, we're really happy to have you on the show because, this is something that a lot of people have been asking me, Cyrus, what is, the digital currency? What is China doing with this? How is this going to impact our world? And I said, you know what, I got to be honest, I don't know a lot about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the expert, and that's just why we're going to make a show about it so you can share this. So first of all, Richard, I want to say congratulations on launching your book and getting that published. I know that is a huge deal. So congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. The name of the book is Cashless, China's Digital Currency Revolution. And here's a picture of the book. It's available on Amazon. Look, it was a lot of work.
One thing, put that back up there because I want the guests to know you can scan that QR code.
This is fun. Okay, so the book has I was struggling to try to find what to put on the cover for the book. Yeah. And if there was an iconic image related to digital payment in China, it is the QR code. So the QR code graced the cover of the book, but the QR code is live. You can scan it and find more information about the book on my website. So it does actually work, which is kind of fun.
Oh, it's awesome.
But yeah, it was really hard. Look, the book was my second, and it was tremendously difficult to write because I'm writing about China that is changing faster than I can possibly write. So at some point when you're an author, you have to say, okay, I'm stopping here and I have to publish what I've got, because China is moving so quickly that no matter what you write, you can't keep up with it. So as an example, I had to write 3 versions of my chapter on Ant Group because Ant Group changed during the course of writing the book. Incredible. So as an author, it's really a challenge, but also it's a challenge for a second reason. Digital payment impacts our society and our lives in so many ways that it is a very expansive topic, despite the fact that it changes quickly because of the facts coming in.
Right.
How we're going to use it is a very profound and deep subject, and I have skimmed only the surface. I've done the best I can, but as this discussion progresses, all of your listeners are going to find deeper levels of impact to their lives and to society. And it's a turning point for us all, as we are the transitional generation going from paper money, credit cards, that was a transition, to now the next great transition for money, the next great evolution, think about it as evolution, to cash becoming digital.
Richard, that's my first question. What exactly is the digital renminbi, or a digital currency, and how is this different, from the regular currency that we're used to using?
The exact name for the new digital currency is a central bank digital currency. And the most important words are central bank, meaning that this is a digital currency that is specifically issued by a country, in this case, China's central bank, meaning it is not a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether. It is which is unsupported by central banks. So this is a digital version of a paper 100 RMB or 50 RMB note. So that's the first distinction, is who issues this digital currency. Now, the next thing to tackle is, well, if you're a WeChat, or if you're familiar with WeChat or Alipay, you're aware that money is already digitized.
Correct.
Okay. When you use WeChat and Alipay, obviously you look at your phone and you can see your balances. But here's the thing: when you use WeChat and Alipay, you're really looking at a balance in an account somewhere.
Correct.
So your money, per se, is not on your phone. Your money is actually in an account.
Right.
And you're seeing the balance on your phone.
Correct.
Now, with digital currency, if you see that you have 100 RMB on your phone, you actually have a long string of characters. That is the digital representation, the money that is physically on your phone. So think about the difference between a representation of an account and an actual, what we call digital token, the tokenization of money, where, like Bitcoin, a digital string of hashes and numbers actually denotes money. So that's the transformation from account-based into tokenized, and from a actual representation of money as opposed to the image of money. The other important thing to make note of is this is not a cryptocurrency.
Correct.
So look, right now, Bitcoin is going crazy. Ethereum is going crazy, to name two of the larger cryptocurrencies. Dogecoin is also big.
Right.
These are currencies which are not backed by a central bank. They have a different issuance. They have a different origin, and people can like or dislike them, and there's a lot of opinions on that. But it's important to note, central bank digital currency uses some of the technologies that were invented, and I give them tremendous credit, by Bitcoin, by these other cryptocurrencies, but it is central bank, therefore not a cryptocurrency.
Very good. Now, Richard, my next question is as we've seen, let's say in the last 5 years, we've seen a shift in China from physical currency, to, using WeChat and Alipay. And for the viewers out there that might not know, WeChat and Alipay, is probably about 95% of all transactions on the mobile payments in China. How does this new digital currency, the CBDC, how does this affect WeChat and Alipay?
What you have to imagine right now, and I know you know WeChat and Alipay, but others may not, are that when you use these payment systems, you pick which wallet your money will come from.
Correct.
So you can use money from the WeChat wallet or directly from your bank. Okay. There will be a third choice, and this will be central bank digital currency. It's simply, you pull it down and you say, I want to spend this. So how will it impact them? Very simply, it will cause a reduction in the revenue that Alipay and WeChat can make from transferring money. They make a small amount of money when they do this. Now, for most people who don't know, it is free to send money on WeChat and Alipay, unlike the Western credit card system, where the merchant must pay 2 or 3% to the credit card company. Alipay and WeChat are already free
Right.
So they were already tremendously disruptive, and this was part of the reason they were so successful.
Right.
So the revenue they make from this money transfer, which is small, will be impacted. However, many are predicting a disaster for these companies, which will not come to pass. Let me explain. PBOC has been very clear. They said the wallet you will use digital currency with is WeChat and Alipay, but the currency on the wallet is the central bank digital currency. So the revenue will go down, but the usage of WeChat and Alipay will still be tremendous because they built what we call sticky platforms that you use for so much of your life that you don't want to leave these platforms.
Absolutely.
So you will use central bank digital currency on WeChat and Alipay. And ready? This will bring new products, new services to WeChat and Alipay and probably make them even more important than they already are. So please, to all your guests out there, there's a school that says, oh, WeChat and Alipay, they're being disrupted by central bank digital currency.
Right.
True, only in as much as one thin sliver of their revenue will be impacted, but they're going to be systemically important payment platforms for many years to come.
Absolutely.
And central bank digital currency needs them to become popular.
Absolutely. So basically, they're the vehicles still. I think that's the easy way that we could say that. Like we said, 95% of these transactions, and for people that aren't on the ground in China, I mean, basically anything that you do, you could do through the WeChat app, Alipay. I mean, everything from movie tickets to hailing a cab. I mean, your whole life can basically be run through your WeChat wallet, essentially. And so now you can have that. You're gonna, like you said, you could have another option. It could be using the CBDC. To pay for that, through WeChat or Alipay. So that's a good explanation. I think that's really good. So they're still going to be very important. They've obviously established themselves over the last 5 years as China's made the shift to becoming a cashless society. And, it's important to see them continue in the future. Richard, I think I'm gonna come out with a big question. This is one that I think every single person is really interested in. Can China's new digital renminbi, can it replace the US dollar as the reserve currency? Now, I've done a little bit of research, and I know that you said that this is an interesting question, but you think it's the wrong question to ask. So explain that whole scenario and really break this down for us, because I know this is the number one question that people want to know. Yeah.
So let's first define what a reserve currency. Central banks across the world hold foreign currency deposits. So if you look at China, they hold large amounts of US dollar deposits. And if you look at other countries, their central banks will hold deposits denominated in other currencies. And partially it's designed to stabilize the system. It's partially designed to ensure that they have currency to spend in that denomination, that the banks within the central bank system have the money. There's lots of reasons. So that's what a reserve currency does. And reserve currencies travel along predefined banking paths. Okay, so if you want to transfer money, you transfer it with SWIFT, you transfer it with other central bank systems. So here comes China's central bank digital currency. And what's interesting about it is that not just that it's a new digital currency, that's all wonderful, but how about this? The path that it uses to travel from person to person or from business to business is a new and different path.
Okay.
What really, if you think about it, we have the RMB already. It exists. So people know about RMB. What we're doing is we're creating a new RMB that has a brand new digital transfer mechanism underneath it.
Interesting.
So the digital RMB can become very successful in international trade, but without ever impacting central bank holdings. So let me explain. because the route and path of digital RMB transmission is independent of SWIFT, independent of the traditional, and I have to say this, Western-dominated banking network,
Right.
it simply doesn't show up. So what happens? Let's imagine we're 10 years in the future, and in my book, I talk about where you have to really be thinking long-term about this.
Yeah.
If 10 years from now, Belt and Road countries start to become big users of digital RMB for purchasing physical items, trade, containers full of refrigerators from China, right? That will all be contained on this different network. And guess what? You won't see it in central bank holdings. So you could actually have a very large success with a large flow of money on these digital network, and the reserve currency status for RMB would be unchanged. But all of a sudden you'd say, hey, entire countries have revalued their trade from dollar to RMB, but their central bank holdings are still at 2%.
Right.
So here's what I challenge, or I want to give our listeners a challenge.
Okay.
You will read many, many articles about the digital RMB, and they will ask this exact question: can the RMB, the digital RMB, help displace the dollar?
Correct.
And in the end, you will always hear the following: digital RMB holdings are only 2% of global reserves, so it is highly unlikely. And that's the wrong question, because you could revalue trade and have digital RMB holdings be completely unaffected.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to watch as this plays out over a longer time horizon. The digital RMB will not, nor was it designed by the PBOC, and no one from the PBOC has ever said the digital RMB is designed to eliminate or dollar use.
Right.
However, they have been clear. It is designed to reduce China's dependence on the dollar.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
So what you're looking at is a means of conducting trade that is not a dollar, that is conducted on its own, what we call payment rails, this new digital payment system. And it allows China to be independent from Western banks. It allows them to conduct business, particularly with BRI and developing countries, who can now conduct business directly with China in digital RMB. It'll be cheap. It'll be efficient. It'll be a game changer for trade for many parts of the world with China. So it's going to be very significant.
Yeah.
Even if it's not designed specifically to replace the dollar, it will displace a significant percentage of dollar trade.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think probably the best way we can also say this is, obviously China is launching its digital currency domestically, and, you're not going to see a very big disruption yet. But like you said, if we really zoom out and look over this over the long-term horizon, as the Belt and Road Initiative is continuing to grow, more partnerships are made, and, we say 10 years from now, how much trade is China doing? It could be a lot, the effect of this will really be seen over the long term as more countries around the world adapt the renminbi, the digital renminbi, and then start using that to trade with China. And so I think its effect would be, more as it gets rolled out internationally.
Absolutely. Now, let me add another dimension to this, which is, again, I'm just starting to see it covered. It's a critical part of my book.
Okay.
I'm just starting to see it in the news, finally. And that is, the digital RMB is not just a currency. Many analysts think about it as, well, it's money. It's no different than any other money. And that's wrong. The digital RMB is an entry ticket or an entry token into something new. And the new thing, it is China's digital logistics network. So China, using 5G, using blockchain, using many new technologies, is designing a system, and it's already in place in China. It's now expanding, which will allow you to purchase something digitally, and it will, you can buy your container full of refrigerators.
Mm-hmm.
You can document it to customs. You can clear customs. You can get on the container on board the ship. Everything will happen as part of a massive blockchain digital logistics system. So when you are in a BRI country and you push the button to say buy with Digital RMB, you'll get a delivery date at your doorstep and you're done. The tricky part is that many in the finance community, and I spent most of my career, 18 years in finance, are simply looking at Digital RMB as another form of money.
Right.
And what they're not seeing is that it comes with something very important attached, and that is this digital logistics system, which is already being built, and it's digital trade finance, and it's digital shipping, and it's monitoring where your package is, your container is, from whether it's left the factory to where it is on the road to whether it's on the ship, where in the ship it is. It's really quite remarkable.
It's the whole ecosystem, right? It's not just a new currency. It's the whole system that goes with that currency that's being developed, right? So that's the big difference.
And that's what people are missing.
Right.
It is, and that's really important. And anybody who lives in China today, we get on WeChat, we get on Alipay, we get on JD, or we get on Alibaba, we buy something. I can see where it is. There's a little map. It shows me where it is. I know exactly when that thing is coming to my doorstep.
Right.
You know, it's really, and you have to, and okay, you say, well, that's easy. It's domestic. That's true. But that entire concept, the way of thinking, is being ramped up on a global scale. And it's all related to blockchain, which we have in China, what's called the Blockchain Service Network. It's really a transformation into this smart logistics, intelligent logistics, which the rest of the world hasn't made yet.
Fantastic explanation, Rich. I really like how you've broken it down for all of us, because I think many viewers, probably not an expert like yourself in this field. It makes it a lot simpler for us to understand. Again, it is not only this new currency, but it is, a new system, a new ecosystem, and everything that goes around that. And you can see how this really, why China has been investing so much. For example, 5G network all over China. Now it makes sense, why that 5G is so important, why they've been developing that network, because it goes hand in hand with all of these projects that they, are working on. What about the global monetary system, as far as, do you see a day where the SWIFT code, is that not going to be as important? Or, I guess that's always going to be available, because we're still going to have these, currencies. But do you see that becoming less and less as more countries around the world shift to a digital currency?
Yes. So first, let me give credit where it is due.
Okay.
SWIFT and the money transfer system that has been in place since end of World War II has served the globe tremendously well.
Yes.
So look, I spent my entire career working in that world, or a better part of my career, and it's good.
Yeah.
China, however, is the first of the major developed countries to be putting together a central bank digital currency. As you can see, and if you look in the newspaper, you'll see that some 83% of central banks across the globe are now investigating central bank digital currency. So you can envision a day within not too far off where it's not going to be just China with a central bank digital currency. Sweden is probably very far along. They'll have one coming up. Small little island countries already have them. The Bahamas has one, and the Eastern Caribbean countries have them. And I know they're not earth-changing, but they're great for financial inclusion. But you can imagine Bitcoin, the UK is looking at a central bank digital currency. And you can imagine a day where digital currencies transfer, and maybe there is still a new and revised role for SWIFT, but it will be highly different. It'll be very different than the existing SWIFT system. And while it's been useful, and there's no question it's a great system.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's time to evolve. This is, it's not as though we have something and we will continue to use it for an eternity. And, unfortunately with SWIFT, there are charges. I do a lot of SWIFT payments, as you may have. And when I go to the bank and I have to pay for a SWIFT payment, I'm paying a lot of money. It's expensive.
Absolutely.
So, we're looking at a digital world where I want my money to flow on digital networks as freely and easily as WeChat and Alipay, or as email. And that's the world that we have to look forward to, where our money is much more fluid and much more mobile and without the charges associated. That world is coming, and SWIFT will have to adopt and adapt. And there may be some look, there's clearly going to be an ongoing role. This is a long-term 50, when you talk about the end of SWIFT, you're looking at way beyond. I'll be gone. It'll be here for a while.
Yeah,
but,
well, 50 plus years maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, but the day is coming where we will be able to transfer money digitally for free or extremely low cost, and digital currencies between countries will be traded, and it'll be a better place, and that's good. So we should all be optimistic about this.
I want to talk about the United States, because obviously, there is obviously an intense competition between our home country of America and, China. I was reading one of your posts on LinkedIn, talked about the Digital Dollar Project, the DDP, which is a partnership between Accenture and the Federal Reserve. You also mentioned that the Fed has outsourced its CBDC design to MIT. They have a digital currency initiative. And I remember you mentioned the comment that this was kind of an amateurish attempt at really doing a CBDC. I'd like to get your comments on that, and a little bit of explanation, on kind of the road that America is taking on this, and, what your thoughts are on this, digital dollar project.
Sure. So let's look at the good and the bad. Okay. Let's take the good first.
Sure.
Federal Chairman Powell, the chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, has been very vocal in saying that it's not about being first with central bank digital currency. It's about getting it right and doing a good job. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
there is no race for the United States to produce a CBDC. Look, the United States essentially is the most important currency in the world. I don't want to say it controls. It is the underpinning of our financial system. There's no reason for them to rush into creating a central bank digital currency. So I agree with the chairman when he says this, and I think that it's important to say that.
Yeah.
However, what we see with the Federal Reserve is that they're really not looking to a future. I just explained this wonderful digital currency future, and I want us to live into that future.
Correct.
And their comments are all very much about what we have right now is pretty good. We should stick with it. One of the Federal Reserve governors said, "I can see no underlying need for a central bank digital currency." In 2020, the total number of overdraft charges from banks to citizens was something like $30 billion. It was huge.
Wow.
So, you have to imagine. Now, I understand that some of these overdraft charges are simply because people don't have money because of the pandemic.
Right.
But certainly some percentage of these charges are due to mistiming. The check goes in the bank, I think I can write another one, but no, it was over the weekend. Look, there's an older system with checks that anybody who lives in China, we can't even imagine it anymore. But there's mistiming. So many of the reasons, so some percentage of this $30 billion, which is usually assessed on the poorest part of America's population, would be eliminated if we had central bank digital currencies. So I go apoplectic because I see the good that digital currency, what I call version 1.0 through Alipay and WeChat Pay, did in China for poorer populations. I think that they can do, digital payment can do the same in the United States. But the Fed is very slow and not particularly open to adapting to digital currencies. To their credit, they went to MIT and they said, MIT, can you work with the Boston office of the Fed to help design a central bank digital currency? And that's wonderful. I'm not being too critical. But they basically haven't told anybody about it. And more importantly, and this is, and I will be critical, Federal Chairman Powell says, look, we don't like China's digital currency. And I say, great, I have no problem with that. If you don't like what China did for digital currency, tell me how yours will be different and better. And what we get from the Fed is silence. So we've got MIT building something, but we don't know the basic principles as to what they're building toward. Now, let me give an example. When the PBOC in China went to its own digital currency research institute, they gave them 3 mandates. They said, we want you to build a digital currency. The digital currency has to spend like cash, has to have some version of anonymity and privacy built in. And the third, it has to be able to transfer without access to a digital network. You build it, that's what it has to have. So what I haven't seen from the Fed yet, nor has anybody in Congress, nobody has seen what are the underlying principles that you will build the currency around. And my argument is that is for the Fed to tell us all. This is the largest evolutionary step in currency since the credit card, which, the first digitization, if you will, earlier. So this is the biggest change ever. You should be telling us what you're thinking. And I do not defer to MIT to tell us what exactly you're going to, what MIT thinks they're going to build. This is the Fed's job. And in my view, they've outsourced a little bit too much of this, and they have a duty to tell people what they're thinking.
And I would say probably the Fed is a little bit reserved on that because, as you mentioned, that the United States dollar is already so dominant in the worldwide, economy. And so they're probably, they're not in a position where they really need to innovate yet. And I think that's a good point. Like you mentioned, I would agree with that, right? If you're going to do it correctly, so take your time with it. It's better to do it correctly than to rush. But also, I like how China said, look, you need to have 3 mandates. These is exactly what we're looking to do. And we need some direction on how we're going to build this digital currency.
It is one of the fundamental design principles that you can be in deep rural China in the mountains, not have access to internet or signal, and be able to transfer money from one device to another. And that is a fantastic technology. So no signal, no internet required for I will say small transfers.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that was one of the things that you mentioned. Out of the 3 mandates that China said, that was the third one, right? You don't have to have access to the internet in order to be able to transfer, because obviously China is a huge country, many rural parts. That's a huge mandate. And again, that just shows you why it's so important for China's government to say these are the 3 things that we're watching.
What China has done is they've come up with these little cards. They're about credit card size, and they have a thumbprint. Some of them have a thumbprint reader, and others have a little display. And you can actually put the digital currency on the card through an ATM machine. You put the little card on the ATM machine, and elderly people who do not have a smartphone, or people in rural communities who don't have smartphones, can go up to a vendor, plop the card down and put it on a surface, and the money will transfer from one to the other. And it's really important. So, you know, China took 7 years to design and trial its digital currency. It's not fast. And the reason it's not fast is because digital currency impacts all of our lives. So we have to really be careful to make sure that we don't leave anyone out. People who love cryptocurrency tend to focus on freedom of money and freedom of flow and the lack of government control.
Right.
They tend not to like central bank digital currency. So there are two different universes. They are going to peaceably coexist with one another. People who use money every day in places like China will use central bank digital currency, just as they will in Sweden and other countries. And if they like crypto, they're free to buy crypto. Let them buy it.
Yeah,
but they're sort of gonna, one is not gonna lead to the destruction of the other. They will exist peaceably in different universes. Yeah, that's wonderful. There's been the first trials of these little cards, like I explained, for the elderly people, and they have a machine now where you walk up, you put a US $100 bill in, and it dispenses a card, and the card has the money automatically put in. And I'm sure you can, and I've seen the patent application already. You can also put in a like a foreign debit credit card in, put in your PIN number, and it will transfer. It will take dollars, transfer it, and put it onto the card, so you'll be able to use it. And we're going to see that in the 2022 Olympics. Can't wait to see it. They are the Bahamas. Now imagine the Bahamas has lots of little islands that can't be serviced by brick and mortar banks. So the people there have no banking services. So one of the most important roles for central bank digital currencies are in financial inclusion. And that's even important in the United States, where so many people are unbanked or underbanked. But these little islands, the Bahamas and the Eastern Caribbean Union, I can't remember the name of the 8 little islands that are all connected financially. They both have CBDCs. So those are 2 examples, and I know they're not big like China, but what I like to say is the CBDC has a big heart because it's helping these people become financially included. All right, now, so Sweden is looking at it. The UK for the Bitcoin is looking at it. The EU is looking at it. All 83% of the central banks in the world right now have a project underway. Probably the furthest along, other than China, would be Sweden. Oh, by the way, Canada. Canada has a big project, and actually, Canada's project is further along than the United States project. So it's interesting to watch.
That's amazing, though. 83% of the central banks have a project underway in digital currency right now.
Yeah, it depends on how you classify it, whether it's research, pilot. There are all these gray areas, and
for sure, but
everybody's looking at it.
That's good, though. That's a good stat, though, still, because I mean, it's on 83% of people's radar, at least. Well, I'm sure it's probably on 100% of people's radar, but 83% of people have at least taken that first step, whether it's research or putting a plan, or like somewhere like Canada or Sweden that's really, making some great progress. So that's exciting. I mean, this is really exciting, and I think you've provided some really great information. Is there an international standard, for digital currency?
No, and that's the interesting thing for now, is that each digital currency is custom built to the specifications of the country that wants to use it. So they're all different. So there's going to be, essentially, there's this concept of interoperability, meaning can my digital currency talk to your digital currency, and how do we do it? So you need something in between a system, and it will likely be a blockchain system of some form that will take my currency, convert it to another currency, push them around, and link them all together. So there are no building standards yet. There will be someday, but not for a while.
Very good. Richard, last question for this session here is, the world's view of China has changed tremendously over the past 12 months. How can China successfully integrate its digital currency on the global stage and gain the trust of the international community?
As far as international use of the digital RMB goes, what China has to show, and I think it will be very capable of doing this, is that there is an advantage to trading with China using digital RMB as opposed to using traditional banking systems. Right. So, and I think that when you look at this digital logistics system, when you look at the speed with which you can convert currency into digital and back with low cost, low fee, I think that that will be an inducement for people in other countries to trade. That is, to trade, meaning to conduct cross-border trade in digital RMB. Look, China is a big currency. It's a country where it is the leading global exporter. So look, all these countries are already doing business with China. It's not exactly like they have to show, oh, we've never done business with you before. What they have to show is that the digital RMB is useful, is simple, can save time, money, or otherwise convenience in some meaningful way. And it is precisely the role of digital smart logistics systems. It's their role. They are going to make people say, well, we want to use digital RMB because it's so helpful.
Right. No, that makes sense. Like you said, China's already #1 exporter in the world. So countries are already doing business. It's probably in their best interest, to, already, get on board, get on board and embrace this technology. Richard, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today. I think you did a phenomenal job of really explaining the digital currency for all of us, because I know for myself, I didn't know a lot coming into this interview. That's why I wanted to have the interview with you. And now I really feel I have a lot of knowledge about this, and I'm very excited about this. And I'm really excited to hear that this is something that 83% of, central banks around the world have, initiated something in this regard. And it's going to be very interesting to, like you said, this is a long-term plan, right? This is something we're going to be looking at over the next 10, 20 years as things develop. But it's amazing as our societies become cashless and we start embracing this technology. China is going to be the one that really, brought this technology to the world.
Look, I understand that there's a group in your audience who is looking at me or listening to this and saying, I don't ever want to use a digital RMB as long as I live. And that's okay.
Right.
Ready? Even if you're in that group, we all owe China a debt because they are the first major country to put forward a digital RMB. They have helped the US, the UK, EU all push forward many years their digital currency projects. So they are helping all of us to bring this, what I think is fantastic digital future, closer. So I get it. If you don't like digital RMB, that's fine. But we all owe a debt of gratitude to China for helping bring it closer so that we can all use it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well said, Richard. I want to thank you so much for all the viewers out there. Thank you for making it to this point in the video and, sticking with us as we, really just unraveled everything about the digital currency. I'm going to drop a link down in the description below that is going to link right directly to Richard's book. There it is right there. You can scan that QR code as well. And make sure you check this out. Richard, I thank you for sending me my copy. I've been reading through that, and I'm just really, really, honored to connect with you. So thank you so much for coming on Real Talk.
the honor is mine, the pleasure is mine, and I just love spreading the message about our future, our shared digital future, and it's going to be bright. Don't worry, it's going to be good.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next episode.